of who's in the room and sort of where you are. This first poll that I am requesting to know about is, when you think about legacy, which feels most true right now? So you should see the poll on the screen. And when you think about legacy, which feels most true right now? When you click on that, it should give you an opportunity to vote. And if you don't see it, let me know. I'm actively building something bigger than myself. I want to build legacy, but I haven't started yet. I don't feel ready to think about legacy, or I'm more focused on survival right now than legacy, which is okay if that's where you are. I just want to get an idea of where people are at. So I don't know if I'm hoping it's allowing you to comment. So if you're not able to comment, you're also welcome to put it in the chat. I don't see anybody's chimed in yet, but even if you were just to let me know, where do you feel you are with legacy right now? And if you feel like you're not ready yet for legacy, you're really just in survival mode, that's okay. We'll talk about that too. But at the end of the day, you're either you don't feel like you're ready for legacy yet, or you want to build legacy, but you haven't started yet. That's sort of where we are right now. And then the next one, and I'm still not seeing, there we go. Someone did put something in. Let's go to the next poll. The next poll says, still related around legacy, which outcome motivates you most when thinking about your first transitional home? Do you think about transforming lives through one safe, stable home, creating personal financial freedom, building a legacy for your family and your community, or all of the above? Which outcome motivates you the most? Okay, I'm seeing some people say all of the above. Okay. I'm seeing some people, all of the above is what I'm seeing so far. Creating personal financial freedom. Okay. So whichever one motivates you the most when it comes to transitional homes, your first transitional home. This will mean something in just a minute. Okay, and then the last one that we'll do, this is our last poll. And it's related to your biggest obstacle. So what's your biggest obstacle that you feel when thinking about building legacy through transitional housing? Is it the fear of failing? Is it the lack of resources? Is it doubting your ability to create lasting change? Or are you unsure how to start small and build big? Whichever one of those, go ahead and choose. Yep, I'm seeing unsure how to start small and build big. I'm seeing that's the response I'm seeing so far. Last moments to respond. So far, it looks like most of you here are unsure how to start small and build big, which is perfect for this discussion today, because what we're going to be talking about is the power of one, especially for those of you who are saying you don't know how to get something big and you're starting off small. So today, as we look at the power of one, and you should be hopefully seeing my slides, they should be coming up in just a minute. Our Transitional Housing Maximize Spotlight Live today is going to focus on the power of one, how transitional housing turns one property into a legacy of impact. And I'm just so glad in that last question, it literally lines up with where people are right now, I feel. And it's not too many people know how you can take something just like one and make it into something bigger. And it can be bigger. And in this discussion today, when we go into that, we're going to specifically talk about how you can do that. So welcome to Transitional Housing Maximize Spotlight, where we are going to talk about impact, legacy, and how one decision can change the complete dynamics of generations, not just yours, but the people that you're going to impact. So we're going to talk about the power of one. And I'm just going to say, many people think that in order to make a big impact, you got to have like hundreds of properties. I've heard people even say that. As you guys know, I am a real estate investor. I've been doing real estate for 15 years. And in this space of people who buy and hold properties, they think they have to have hundreds of homes. And guess what? They do. They have hundreds of homes that they basically rent out to other people. And they're not doing it the way that we're doing it. So when we talk about the impact of one property today, you're going to understand that you don't need 100 properties to make an impact. You just need to have one aligned with purpose. So when you can get one property aligned with purpose, the lives that you're going to be able to impact are tremendous. And that's what I want you to see. So when we talk about this today, we're going to talk about the power of one as it relates to a rippling effect. And I know you've seen a ripple before. You know, like when you throw that one stone in the water, and when you throw that stone and you skip that rock across the water, what does it create? Ripples, right? That's what this one property is going to do. I'm going to show you today how you can take one property, create transformation, and build out growth in a community, as well as creating generational legacy, all from one property. So that's what we're going to talk about today so that you can fully understand where we are going when we talk about the power of one. See, most people, when they are looking at transitional housing, which I love transitional housing. You hear me talk all the time. There's several different type of properties that you can have. And there are a lot of people who love group homes. They love sober homes. They love assisted living. All of these are types of housing that you can do. I just have an affinity for transitional housing because of what it actually does. See, when you truly set up transitional housing, you are providing not only a roof over someone's head, but you're providing stability. Your goal is to do more than simply collect rent from a property and let someone stay. You want to be able to provide them some form of stability so that they can figure out what they're going to do next, right? And as you are doing that work, not only are you providing stability, but you're restoring some of who they are. Because think about it. When you're dealing with people who are hurt, you're dealing with people who are traumatized. You're dealing with people who've lost something. They don't even know who they are anymore. And they need to find themselves. That's your job as a person providing transitional housing. You're helping restore who they are, and not only restore them, but improve them, enhance them, bring them to a whole nother level of being. That's why this is such a great movement of people that I'm looking for who have a heart for transforming lives in transitional housing. Because not only are you giving them the stability they need and helping them restore themselves to at least where they were, but you're also creating opportunities for them that they would never get. As I think about the people we have touched over the years who've gotten into our housing, and they have literally felt like they've lost everything. And we're talking about from extreme cases of people who are coming back into society because they were incarcerated. They had lost several years of their lives. Now they have a place of now, who are they? They don't even know who they are because they've been locked up for so long. Or whether you're working with someone who has lived on the streets because they lost their housing for a significant amount of time. They don't even know who they are. Or if you just got that person who just almost lost their housing, they were on the verge of being homeless and you brought them in before. You helped put them into a space where they could be helped. These are the opportunities that transitional housing offers. And you, as a person who wants to do this work, you will do that. So you're going to do more than simply look at individuals as a paycheck or looking at them as, oh, well, I'm going to get that rent. You're looking at them bigger. You're looking at, you want to change their lives and you're wanting to do that work. So when you think about the people that you're going to help in your transitional home, your transitional facility that you set up, in a typical situation, and it depends on how long, this is all based off of your programming, right? You might set up a program that might serve 5 residents or 15 residents. It just depends on how you bring them in and how you bring them out. So if you were to just to typically look at a home, a transitional home that serves 5 to 10 residents. And when you do that for 10 years, then you are going to transform anywhere from 50 to 150 lives in that typical scenario, right? But I want you to look deeper. I want you to look behind those numbers and look at the impact that potentially could be made if you were to teach just one. If you had every person who was in your home that you are creating for those individuals, when you teach each one of them how to pay it forward, which, what better way when you have somebody lift you up? Wouldn't you want to lift somebody else up? And that's what I want to encourage all of you as you are creating your programming. Think of how you can create a program where those individuals will pay forward, because that is the goal. When you can take those individuals who you help and get them to pay it forward and help someone else, however you create it. So once you do that, it's more than addition. You're actually teaching them how to you're multiplying the impact that use could effectively make in the lives of individuals. So if you helped 5 to 15 people in that year, and each one of them then helped another person, you are now no longer reaching 5 to 15. You're actually reaching 10 to 30. Why? Because you multiplied. You did more. You actually helped somebody who then helped somebody else. So what you created impacted multiple people. So then in a 10-year period, the simple act that you were doing before, you now have multiplied the people you are impacting. So instead of only helping 50 to 150, you now helped 100 to 300 people. Do you see that? Do you see the power of multiplication when you do that? So imagine just for a second, if you were able to have one person, each person help 2 or 3 or even 10 other people, right? Now your impact isn't doubling, it's expanding exponentially. And that's what we're talking about when you're truly looking at the power of exponential growth. And then you get to, the sky is the limit to what you're creating. One day I'll share with you my vision and actually what I'm doing in this space so that it can spark some ideas in you. But what you want to do is to create something that is so powerful that now you are exponentially impacting a community. So where 1 becomes 2, and then 2 becomes 4, and then 4 becomes 8. You see how you're multiplying? You ultimately are going to multiply everything that you do all from one property. And it can keep going over and over again. You keep going with that and you can grow faster just depending on how you actually create this to be. So it becomes a position of not how many people that you can help, but how many people you can truly empower to help others. See, you empowering others to help others, that is your ultimate goal. Now, clearly, in a perfect world, those are the numbers. Because as I talk about wanting you to do more multiplication than addition, because that's where I want you is multiplying your efforts, all from one property. You teaching the very people you're working with how to help others. When you can think of the parable of how to teach, or is it a parable? I'm not quite if it's a parable or not, but when you teach someone how to fish, now you've changed that person's life tremendously, right? But then you would want that person to teach someone else how to fish. That's your true work. That's where I want to see you is how can you multiply your efforts in the one property simply by multiplying the efforts of the people who are staying in the program that you currently will be operating. That is the true movement of what you're creating. And that's what I'm doing with you. That's what I've decided to do with the masses of you who are interested in growing so that we can touch the masses. I want to multiply. I want to teach you how to do this for others and you teach them. That's where the true movement comes. So now, as we talk about the shift, because at the end of the day, I want your mind to shift. I want you, as a person in this space, to think about what impact you truly can make. And you have to start with changing the way you even see this. See, you're not just collecting rent. You are managing transformations. And once you understand that's what you're doing, you are becoming a transformational leader. You're managing lives, not leases. We're not here to manage a lease, to manage a property, but we're here to help manage lives and to teach them, to empower them and mentor them to build their futures out. That is the ultimate goal. So I want you thinking about the perfect resident who is going to be in your transitional home. I want you to think about that. Consider what your niche is. Who is it that you're going to serve? Is it going to be aging out youth? Is it going to be those coming out of incarceration? Is it going to be seniors? Is it going to be women who are fleeing domestic violence? You get to choose that. But then what I need you to think a step further is how are they coming to you? Whoever it is that's coming to you, how are they coming? If you're working with women who are fleeing from domestic violence and you're providing a place for them to be, what is it that they need from you? What will they need help doing? They may have been completely reliant on somebody else to take care of them, and then they had to flee because they were being assaulted and violence being performed against them. They had to leave. Now, what do you have to help them do? These are the things I want you to think about. Think about that for just a moment and think about what they need for a transformation. So now that you're thinking about that, what does that transformation look like for them? Like, think about what they need to be like. Those are the things I need you thinking about. And I want to see if there is a brave soul who wants to share. I'm going to just go to my chat here real quick. If anyone wants to share, I'd be more than willing to have someone chime in. And if you want to share what it is, the population that you want to serve, I'd love to see it in the chat. And if you don't mind sharing who you want to serve in the chat, what were you thinking as I was sharing that? What were some of your thoughts that you were thinking about that person that you want to serve? What does it look like for them to be transformed? because those are the type of things. I didn't know if anyone was brave enough to type it in the chat yet, and that's okay if you're not, because I want you thinking through those things. Because as you think about how they need to be to transform, you need to now think about how are you going to provide that to them. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Cortez, the broken, people who lost hope. So as you think about that, Cortez, take it a step further. What is it that you need to provide them? One thing, if you could think of one thing, because if they're broken and they're people who are lost and they've lost hope, I'm already thinking one thing, but I would love to hear from you first. And then I'll share, because you have to think about how are you going to help them get to the transformation of what they need? Because that's where we're talking. We're talking about not just collecting rent from them. We're talking about how we can manage transformation for them. And what does that look like? Inspiration. Thank you for sharing that, Quatez, because you will need to inspire them. You also have to give them hope because it's lost. Those are things that you have to think about as you work in this space with people who need to be transformed. And that's why it starts with you. The shift with the mindset starts with you. Once you understand, oh, I'm here to more than collect a paycheck or to collect something to make sure the bills are paid at this property. How am I going to help them transform? And that's going to mean something in just a minute. And thank you for sharing that, Quatez. I appreciate that. As you think through this and move through this space, because you need to understand when you help them, you do those things, you now have to think about, as you help them manage that, there's another transformation that's happening too. Because as you're managing their transformation, you are becoming transformed too. And let me tell you, I already told you your mindset was shifting. You were shifting your mindset, and now you're becoming a new person. You're being a new person dealing with them. And as that change starts happening, and you start, because you're going to start actually fully embracing your purpose as you're in this space, believe it or not, you're going to start embracing more and more of who God has called you to, because the more you deal with people and the more you help people, you have to get strength to do that. In order to get strength, you have to get transformed so that you can then share and be a part of that for others. And that's going to be seen. People are going to start seeing those transformations in people and those transformations in you. Next thing you know, they're going to start seeing, wow, look at how Adam is moving. He's moving differently. Look at how he is being. Look how he's helping these individuals. Look at his cause. I want to be a part of what he's doing. Next thing you know, people are going to start giving to you. People are going to start giving to your cause. People are going to start volunteering, wanting to be a part of what you're creating, because that is the true essence of you and one property changing someone else's life that ultimately starts changing yours. Your position starts to change. Things start coming in so you can then be a blessing to other people. And then now the funds that you need to identify with, they start coming in. Now you're going to have agencies that are going to start working with you. They're going to want to partner with you. They're going to say, hey, I want to create an MOU and partner with you. An MOU is a memorandum of understanding. Getting those things in place with an agency saying, oh, well, we'll give XYZ because look at this thing she's doing. Hey, let's go ahead and we want to be able to help and give. Next thing you know, your financial security is now impacted. You're now more financially secure than you ever were. Why? Because you put others above yourself. You still made sure that things needed to move, but things start to elevate. People start giving, and next thing you know, you are not at the same financial position that you were at when you started. You are actually going to start not only building financial security for yourself, but then also the legacy, the foundation for your legacy starts. And we're going to talk, I just want to briefly, so that you understand, when I talk legacy, I'm talking about things you pass on. See, many of us are used to our lifestyles, right? We have a lifestyle that we like to live. So when you're talking about your lifestyle, that's money. That's just the cars where you live. That's things that come in just to maintain your lifestyle. But then there's legacy. That's the stuff you want to pass on to your seed or that lives on beyond you. And this is where that starts. Once you start identifying with your purpose and being driven by that purpose and helping others, next thing you know, you're going to start. That's the foundation upon which you're building your legacy. And that's where we want you to be, is where you have financial security with your purpose so that you can ultimately have cash flow coming in that and your legacy starting to be formed. And that's what we're talking about. So let's talk about this real return on investment, this real ROI. Okay. See, when you get to a place where you now are experiencing financial wealth, we're not just talking about having money, but we're talking about being able to build on where it is that you're going. So you move differently. And I'm just going to say the things I'm sharing here is just it's a scratch on the surface of the information that I can share as it relates to wealth building. But at the end of the day, what I want to help you move into is understanding, because I do understand money is important 100%. I would never tell you money's not important. Thank God for it, because it allows for you to do the things that you need to do. As I've been growing and building for 14 years, God has not missed a beat blessing me, and so that we could have the things that we need. And he'll do the same for you. He has been doing the same for you. And he will grow that level as you grow in where he wants you to grow. So as you grow in that space and you understand that what this will provide for you is a lifestyle that it will provide you with the lifestyle you want to live. But after that, then what? Because there's only so many houses, so many cars, so many rings, so many trips, so many whatevers that you could have. Because at the end of the day, true financial wealth is when you can create it through legacy. And this structure we're talking about can help you build that so that you're building true financial wealth that you pass on through the legacy that you're building and to your seed so it grows on beyond you. And that does come with the lifestyle as well. But we're talking about building legacy. So not only are you getting the financial wealth as a return on your investment in this one property, you're also getting an emotional fulfillment that is like no other, and gratification, because to be fulfilled in the work that you're supposed to be doing, I can only tell you it is the most beautiful experience to not have to worry about those things that typically I worried about years ago. I can truly operate in a fulfillment that allows me to push forward in my purpose. But then you also want to think about the impact that you're going to make in a community. That's another return on investment that you will see. And I want to talk about these three things in that space through a particular case study, because those are the things that you want to enjoy. You want to have that return on your investment. And this is what can happen when you have that return on investment. I'm going to share this case study of an individual 7 years ago that started an amazing program for aging out youth. And this person, she was not only a mortgage broker, but also her first time operating in this space. And I'll just say she had such a heart for individuals who were aging out of foster care because she was one of them. And as a result of that work, she put together her first property, and her whole goal was to work with them because that's where she came from. And when you understand what individuals aging out of foster care face, because many of them do face homelessness. The moment they turn 18, their foster parents put them out, because unfortunately, there are people who looked forward to that check every month. And when that check was gone, they felt like that child could sustain themselves, but they couldn't. And I'll just tell you, not only do they lack employment opportunities. They also, and they lacked family support, but they also lacked skills. I can tell you, I've ran into several individuals who were aging out, and because of the system that they were in, nobody took the time to teach them anything. Some of them didn't even know how to clean because no one taught them those life skills. So there's so much that they are facing when they're in this space. When they get to a position where they have no stable housing, most of them do fall into the same cycles that most people fall into, but it's harder for them because not only are they in that cycle of poverty and crime and chronic homelessness, but they also don't have the skills. This is their reality. And she knew that going into it. So, with that being said, she partnered with an amazing nonprofit to just simply get referrals because they needed housing for their individuals, and she brought them into their home. And it got to the point where she was able to bring in enough money to make sure ends meet, things were covered, everything needed, it was met, because they were sending them and they had funds associated with that. And in this great partnership, she was able to partner, and they actually provided all the life skills and workshops with their clients weekly, and also assisted them with the things that they needed to get the benefits that they needed, if they need their meds, anything that they needed help with. That nonprofit did all the heavy lift there. All she had to do was focus on the program she wanted to create for them, serve as a mentor to them, give them sustainable skills that she wanted to share with them on top of what the agency gave, and also gave them resources in the community, making sure they had what they needed from the community. So 5 years later, she was able to help 48 of these individuals transition into their own home. They actually transitioned through this and was able to secure the things that they needed. 48 is a large number of people in 5 years. I'm just going to say that to me spoke volumes of what she was able to do. And what was interesting, of that, 38 of them were able to secure jobs, as well as continue their education. I was trying to see if I missed one. Hold on. There it is. So I'll come back. And then 12 of them were able to become homeowners themselves. But this was really the kicker that I loved, because not only was she able to do that, but because she was a broker and she understood the brokerage business, she actually trained 10 of them to work with her in her brokerage. And they became like loan officers with her. So she taught them a sustainable skill, right? And not only was she able to do that, but of the residents who got into homes themselves, those 10 individuals were the ones who were originating those loans for those residents in her program. So not only was she able to help all of these individuals in her program become successful, but she gave several of them sustainable skills that they were able to build on. And as she was doing that, so those were the results. But this here was the impact. She was able to then, because of everything that she had done those 5 years, because she had to purchase another home. She had generated so much cash flow from what she had built. She had grown her business. She had taught these young individuals how to be resourceful and run their own businesses, do amazing work. She now purchased another property. She really didn't have to. The one she did was amazing, but because she had so much cash flow coming in, she purchased another property within 3 years. And not only was she able to do that, but the city started recognizing her. People were calling on her to come and speak at their events to talk about all the amazing work that she was doing. And not only her, but the ones who were graduating. They were spokespersons for her and what they came through and how they gave back, because they didn't just stop there. The 10 individuals who got their own businesses were seeking their own properties that they could do the same thing to be able to help other people. And the one thing that I thought was so powerful, she said, I thought I was just buying a house. She didn't realize she was planting a tree that bared so much fruit, not just for her generation, but for the people she was impacting. That's how you can truly make a difference in individuals' lives and move to the next level. Now, when we talk about generational cycles, imagine that one property, what we were able to not only interrupt poverty, but building a new future for people and opportunities that they never even saw that they had. That is how powerful a transitional housing property can be, where we can truly break generational cycles that if no one had stepped in at that moment and did the work, she never stepped in, those 48 lives would have never been impacted. Those 48 lives would have gone into homelessness, gone into poverty, repeated the same things that they were taught to do because they weren't taught. They were in an aging out system that wasn't teaching them anything. That is the reality of what one transitional housing property can do. So as many of you were saying at the beginning of this, what can one property do that's so small? How can I make a big impact? That was one property that she had that made such a profound impact. And that's what we're talking about doing for people. And not only that, we're talking about taking one property and turning it into a movement. She had one property where she was able to impact so many lives that they also were committed to impacting so many lives. So not only did she have one property that then allowed her to have a second property, imagine, and we're not even talked about what the second property generated, but that also giving mentorship, not only her being a mentor to them, but them now being a mentor to others. And it didn't stop there. It went even further to where partner properties, that's still that one property. So not only does it open the door for people calling on you and saying, hey, come speak, come do different things with me here. It also brought in contracts from the city through local COCs. It brings in partnerships. It brings in grants, especially if you then work, because from what I understand, she partnered with this nonprofit that then went after a grant that then created more opportunities for them to impact more individuals. So not only are you talking about the opportunities that existed in that moment, but these are future opportunities that one property brought in, all from partnering with the right nonprofit, working with the right niche, and the right heart of somebody who wanted to change lives. That's what we're talking about. The future impact of that is tremendous. So as you're thinking about where you are today, you are building a blueprint for others to follow. So as you think about that one property that you're wanting to do, create that blueprint, because that blueprint is going to help you determine how others are going to follow it. You all are part of my blueprint. I've created a blueprint of which I share this with others so that we can touch the masses across this country. And just like I have a vision that you all now are a part of because you're here watching me today, you too will have a blueprint and people will follow you in your community. And that is my desire as we build and grow a community of purpose-driven leaders who want to transform their communities through transitional housing. So as you start shifting your thoughts and moving yourself from a transactional place into a transformational place, that is my desire for you, where you no longer focus on rent, which it's wonderful to focus on that. Don't get me wrong. I know many people who do, but I want you focused on lives, on how you impact lives, and being able to focus and shift you from thinking of temporary things into lasting legacy. See, temporary things, cars that you drive, houses that you live in, jewelry that you wear, the clothes that you wear, what outfit you got on, all those things are temporary. Guess what? They fade. They get old. They get dingy. They break down. We're talking about lasting legacy. That's where I need you shifting onto lasting legacy that you can pass on to someone else, and shifting from not just profit, but to be in a place of purpose and profit, because you will exponentially grow as you start identifying the gifts that God has given you, and you start growing that. God has an expectation that you take those talents he gave you and you multiply them. He has no desire for you to take them and bury them. He wants you to multiply them. And I am here to help you get to a place where you are not just focused on transactional things. You're focused on transformational things. You're focused on purpose and growing and building. Those are the people I'm looking for. And I know you are interested in that as well. So as we move through this place, my goal is that the resources that you need will come forward as a result of your purpose. See, many of you, once you identify what your true purpose is, everything you need is going to come to you. Investors are going to come and say, hey, I'm interested in working with you. I love what you're talking about. Let me help you. You're going to have partnerships with agencies. Yeah, you're right there with the area that I'm working with. Let's see how we can partner. Or you'll have people saying, oh, I want to donate to what it is your cause is. There are a lot of philanthropists out there that are looking for you and looking for your cause and looking for your purpose. You just need to get the voice out there to say what it is after you identify it. I will help you do that. So as you move into this space, communities rally behind purpose. So once you understand your purpose, will attract the resources that you need, and your community will rally behind you once you build it out. So who you become is important to me. I want you to move through a space of being a simple landlord or somebody who's just simply running a group home. I want you to become a compassionate investor, somebody who cares about someone, and you put them in a property and you talk about transforming their lives. Because then when you do that, you start fully identifying with your purpose, legacy will come forward. You will start building out your legacy, and that's who you will become. And that's where I want to help you become. Okay. So I want you to imagine planting a seed that grows into a forest of impact. That's where I challenge you today, because everyone has the same opportunity. You just have to imagine it and plant it. That one property is your seed, because as you plant that and you put it into the ground, it has to root. And as your property develops, because you're going to build it out. That first property you get in are your roots. That's your foundation you're going to build on. And as you do that, and fruit starts coming out of it, because it then has branches that come out. Opportunities are going to open up. As you heard me talk about the lady who had her program, all the opportunities that not only opened up for her, but also for the people that she helped, all of her graduates, to where she was able to build a forest. There was a forest. She got her second property. And guess what? The people who's with her was getting properties. Now that's her legacy. That is what she's building upon. So as you think about getting into this space, I want to call you to vision. I want to call you to a space where you can make a difference. And I want to know if you're ready to start your ripple, because I know that you can. So I'm going to see now if there are any questions in the room, because I want to see if there's any questions first before we jump into the next phase. Oh, I hope that my network got better. Hopefully you're able to still hear me. It looks like it's still going. So hopefully you'll catch it on the replay, because I will put this out so that you will get an opportunity to hear it again, take notes. And for those of you who are ready, are there any questions before I jump into this last part? And then I'll have another opportunity for questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat so I can see them. And once they show up, I will answer them as they come. And you're so welcome. I'm just so happy that I'm able to share this information with you. And I'm also so excited because I think you were one of them who already got started with what we're getting ready to start. So I want to give you one last opportunity before next week. Next week, we will be having our 5-day challenge. Now, let me just tell you, I'm excited for this 5-day challenge. I'm literally creating it as we speak, because my goal after those 5 days, especially after you sat through this here, I want a lot of that stuff laid out for you by the end of next week. My goal is that you have a blueprint by the end of next week. But I'm extending this one more time from 6 to 7 next week. We will be doing a 5-day challenge every day from 6 to 7 Central Standard Time. We will be doing this 5-day challenge again. And nobody who's outside of this group will get the same discount that everyone else is going to pay the $197 to participate, or at least the $147. But if you've not paid yet, I think a couple of you that I see, you're already on. Yes, I'm excited as well for you to be a part of next week, because it's going to be 5 days. And I want to encourage you, block off your calendars, because I will not be doing replays outside of those people who paid. So if you've paid, wonderful. I'm glad that you're in. If you've not paid yet, you're going to get an opportunity from now till next week to get in. I think I have to end it on Sunday just so we can start it on Monday. So I'm going to be fine tuning everything. And what you're going to get with this, obviously you'll get the daily video recordings every day. So I'll keep them up for the day, but then it'll come down and then the next one will go up. So I won't leave them on for the whole week. You just have to watch the replay before the next day. So that's how I'll do it. And then I'm going to do a live Q&A. So the live Q&A is going to be powerful. I hadn't fully decided, because I'm not going to be able to hear from everyone. I'm just not. So I'm going to have to figure out how to offer you the opportunity to ask me questions, because the live Q&A is going to be an additional hour. So from 6 to 7, we'll do the training. And then from 7 to 8, I'm answering any question people have so that we can then get the live Q&A in. And then at the end, everyone should have a blueprint of what we're talking about, so that by the end of next week, if you're missing and you don't have some things, you'll at least have some things in place. But that's my goal, is that you get that. And I want you, the end of the day, those of you who's ready to launch your first facility, if you want a clear step-by-step plan and you're just tired of feeling overwhelmed, that's why I'm doing that. This is for you. And so I'll be doing that for one more week. You can get it in our back office on the school community. So if you're not on my school community and you're hearing this, you surely should go to tonyschool.com. Otherwise, you'll be paying full price. So go to tonyschool.com to register in the back office. And from there, you can then get it for the price because you'll be a part of our community, but nobody else will get that pricing. And with that being said, I'm checking now the chat for any questions that you have. Going once, going twice. This has been an amazing discussion because I hope I answered that question, because I think I heard in the room that you didn't see how one property could be so big, but it is. Even if you just had one property, you can do this. And with my help, I will help you get that done. So this here is it. I don't see any other questions. So all hearts and minds are clear. Going once, going twice. I will go ahead and close this session out. Thank you guys so much for your time, for coming out today. And I look forward to next week. We'll be in our 5-day challenge. So if you don't pay for the challenge, you won't be in training with me next week. You'll just see me the following week. But if you are in the challenge, look forward to coming prepared every day to get what you need those 5 days so that you can be successful. And I look forward to seeing you guys then. Take care.